Thank you all for coming. I'm glad you can see this body of work. It was in my mind just a few years ago, seeing kind of where the country was going and realizing who we were and that we needed work to remind us of who we are. And mutual aid and chosen family are close to my heart and my family. Chosen family is about, really has been used mostly by queer community. Many of the kids that are homeless, adults that aren't allowed into family gatherings because they're queer, where do they go at Christmas? Where do they go when they need somebody to talk to? So these families have taken in new members. My sister was upset. She said, "What is that?" And I said, "It's like vocabulary. This is vocabulary change. When you were young, it was called your best friend. She would do anything for you. She was your chosen family." She also had her biological family, and if you're fortunate to have both, you're lucky. These days, we need more. We need all of us to be there for each other. And so I wanted to show some of the typical chosen families that we've got. We've got neighbors that step up when your family can't. Not because they don't want to, sometimes it's just they can't. Or if you've worked in a restaurant or if you've worked in a service industry, you become so close with your coworkers, they become family. And down here, I was trying to figure out how to talk about GoFundMe. This is a rent party. Somebody, if you need rent, this started in Harlem. I'm sure it started before that, but throwing these big dance parties, pay at the door, all the money you get at the door goes to the person who's got to pay the rent. This is what GoFundMes are doing. This is what they're doing in Minneapolis right now. The GoFundMes trying to help people stay in their homes, not asking for extra. You can't go out and work. So how do we help each other? Mutual fund. Mutual aid is ongoing. It's not a drop in the bucket. It's something that keeps moving and it's consistent. We, as a community, help each other to make things work for each other, whatever it is. Delivering food, helping people learn how to sew and mend. Sometimes the social is almost more healing than the other activity. You're talking to somebody you've never met before, learning how to do a skill that maybe you don't have, and they're helping you learn something. Some of these are historical. Black Panther's breakfast program taught us how to do early childhood education, preschool, free lunch programs, how to do tutoring. A lot of these things, the models are there, and I think as a community we just have to learn how to embrace these things. How do we fit in? What can I do? How can I be part of a rent party? How can I, there's Laundry Love is a national program over here. If you go to this one laundromat in Duluth on Tuesdays, they'll give you 2 free loads of laundry because they know some people don't have enough. Maybe they'll do 2 of their own, pay for 2, but they can't pay for 4, and if they got kids, you know it's 4. So, and I've asked harm reduction to come. Harm reduction is based, goes all in northern Minnesota, from Duluth on up to the border. It's about helping somebody get through the day, to get to tomorrow with your own struggles, whatever the struggles are. And Narcan is something I'm learning about. Everybody can carry Narcan. It's a way to save someone's life. If someone's overdosing and they're given Narcan, they'll be okay. I mean, at least until you can get somebody to help them, medical people. There's more, I'm really brief on it, but you guys will talk to them. But anyway, this is drawing these pictures for me has been a way of, I'm not a talker, as you can tell, but I can talk and tell stories through my pictures, and I want the world to be a better place for our families and for our old people and our young people. It doesn't matter who they are. Wherever they're from, they should feel loved, they should feel part and supported in a community. There's tons of ways to do that, and some of them are very simple. Delivering groceries, or maybe just listening to somebody a little longer at the grocery store, or helping open the door, or just those kindnesses, they can make a big difference. And that's how it starts. I've got one over here. This is the first time the snowstorm has picture has shown. I wanted it for up here. Because I know you guys know about this. That's mutual aid, how you take care of each other, getting people plowed out, getting people's steps cleared. You know who's living upstairs and they're not coming down. You know why, because they don't dare come out on the ice. And we know those things. We can help each other with those things. So this is just an exhibition to remind us of what a good community looks like and who we are as people, and that we are not led by hate. We are led by good things, wanting better for our families and better for our communities. So I suppose I was supposed to talk about that they're pastel, but they're pastel. Paper. It's fast. It's a way for me to deal with my anxiety about the way the world is. I can draw a picture and make it. There's a bit of hope in it. I did some pictures about essential workers back during COVID, and I remember the woman said, "You're such dark times, you're still showing some joy. The joy helps me," she said. And I agree. I think the bright colors, I love the color. I draw on brown paper to make them pop more for me, so I have to enjoy it too. And it's a fast way to, and the gestures are explicit. They show questioning, they show happiness, they show hesitancy. Kids are like, you've seen kids standing at the door with the present. They're looking at, they would like to go play with the other kids, but they can't, so they stand there. You know that look. And there's different gestures that we respond to, and we can see those in our neighbors as well. But anyway, any questions? Yeah.
I saw your image here of the parking lot in Duluth where people can go and live.
Well,
is that extended, or is that all over the country, or is that just a Duluth program?
I believe it's all over the country in different times. In Duluth, it's not right now during the winter. It's going to kick in again when it gets a little warmer. So people can sleep in their cars, they can wash clothes, take showers. There's a spot in the parking lot, which is a big parking lot. They have people there to help them make sure it's safe, secure, so you can feel comfortable falling asleep. Many of them work full-time, just can't afford rent. There's a school out east, a high school, has a safe bay like this for their high school students because they just don't have a place to live, but they got a car. Does
the city of Duluth provide that, or
no.
Just an individual gives up a parking lot?
It's in Duluth, it was the Damiano's parking lot for a while, and then they moved it out to a church's parking lot, which is bigger. I'm trying to think what else about it. I think it goes through Chum. There's an organization in Duluth called Steppin' On Up that has a few different organizations that they, like Chum and Damiano, and I could name a bunch of them, Laundry Love, that they're trying to coordinate themselves so that they can help each other, especially with trying to get funding, I imagine, but it's not, the city doesn't, I don't think, put money into it. So it's volunteer. So somebody's got to stay up all night, make sure the washing machines are working. So I hope you saw something to inspire you. Hope you saw yourself somewhere, and we need each other, and that's what I want us to remember. And there's tons more stories out there. So, yeah.
I've not seen your art before. It's lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could you just talk to us a little bit about your background and where you're from? And
I'm from Duluth. My mom was a nurse. My dad was a physicist. He studied lightning and northern lights, so it was interesting. I'm the youngest. I always have drawn, but I was kind of quiet kid, quieter, not real quiet, but anyway. At end of high school, in college, I worked down south for a nonprofit, Black-owned organization. Did my graphics there. I did layout for magazine for them and fundraising. And then I taught in the Jackson Public Schools for a while, taught art. It was, did any of you remember Fame? Yeah. Okay, when that came out, Jackson went nuts. They had a whole program, and I was the art teacher in Fame. Anyway, it was a good place for me to kind of come of age with my art, because I would draw people I knew, what was going on, trying to record where I was. Is this what I'm seeing? Is this not what I'm seeing? And my thing then was noticing how kids are their parents. Kids mimic their parents. If a parent is cruel, they think it's okay to be cruel. And if a parent doesn't know any better, then somebody's got to help them understand that, because the children will become whatever they're seeing. And I would draw this over and over and over. It was one of the things. But when I came back to Minnesota, for family reasons and things, it's just so different up here. So being down south as a northern Minnesotan was a culture change, culture shock. The art helped me figure out who I was and what I thought was important. So I would draw things I saw, and people liked that because they could see themselves. They reflected, they saw themselves in the paintings. They saw themselves represented. And I think that was important. When I was younger, the pictures are more what 20-year-olds doing. Yeah, they're partying, they're running around, they're having fun. And that was really good for me, to draw everything I saw. People drinking coffee, people out walking, people on the beach trying to swim. But the gestural way I draw always was important for me, because I was raised very carefully, properly. You did not move your body much, because that wasn't a good idea. And so to draw that way, I could draw, their emotion, their feelings, their activities, their gestures would describe what they were feeling. And these are pretty tame. If you look at things from years ago, they're a little more gestures. But it was a way for me to explain what was going on in my head. And anyway, moving back to Duluth, and then I married. We had twins, and I was teaching. And so then everything I drew was what our family was doing. I don't think I have any pictures from that time other than paintings with the kids playing Game Boys. They're out in the backyard running around. And everything was our family. So if you look back, you'll see exactly what we were doing. And then about middle school, I think I tried to reach out more into what the community was doing, what I felt was important. I came back to what I think is important for a family to be a part of, being together. When I would come home from work, I always felt like I just needed to sit in a big pile with my kids, because I didn't know what had happened to them that day. We had to talk about whatever it was. And I felt like if other families did that, maybe that would be better. So I started sharing things that I thought were good and healthy. Cooking together, having a cat, growing a garden. Nothing real traumatic, but it was everyday life. The park, riding bikes. But as now the kids are 30 and they're living in the cities. So when COVID came, I had just retired in COVID, and then I'm a nervous wreck because they're in the cities, both working full time. One is a grocery cashier, customer service person, the other one public school teacher. So then I started drawing all of the essential workers, all the people that are making a difference, all the people that are out there every day doing stuff. And they needed to be recognized, they needed to be documented, and they were not making a lot of times they weren't making enough money to live, they weren't making a living wage. So I've done work since then on living wage. If we want to make a better community, we have to pay our workers. And if we expect them to pay rent, which they would like to do, they're working full-time, sometimes more than that, and they're not making a living wage. So I'm using my drawing skills to draw people. Drawing a dishwasher. You can't have a good restaurant without a good dishwasher. Washers make minimum wage. They work very hard if you've ever worked in a restaurant. People who pick vegetables, our farm workers, they make how much for a bucket of pickles? And now it's been cut. I don't know if you know that. The government has cut their wages and making them pay rent. They used to be able to get their rent from the owners, let them live in the housing. There's no way you can make it if you can't make enough money and the wages aren't there. So this is the last thing I've been thinking about, is that we need to help each other through mutual aid, and we need to recognize chosen families and recognize our own and help each other. I know it sounds kind of simple, but it's not like it was. It's changed. It's very hard for our young people, and I don't know. We need to listen to them and help them and talk, explain what's going on. They're trying to make a better world, and there isn't a lot of hope for them. They don't feel it's a hopeful place. That's what I'm hearing. And I always argue, of course it is. I'm here with you. It will be better. But I have to put in the effort. I have to put in the time. And this is one way to talk and bring it up and encourage each of us to be better people and better community. And this is one thing I will do. Anything else? Yeah.
How did you identify your found family? Your found family. Did they come to you organically? Was it work or some of your art that brought you together? Or
wherever you are with your people, you've got a family. It's wherever you find people like-minded. There are places in town, I'm sure, where people gather for coffee. There's places where they all go to see what pets are available to borrow and buy.
is that kind of how you found yours?
I have my family. I think it's other artists. Yeah. So when I think of other people, the chosen families, a lot of it's from where they work or who they went to school with. That'll comes to mind. That'll pick your friends carefully or wisely, I suppose is what the word was. There are places you can go to find people, but I think you have to look at who you are. What do you have? Who are you? What's important to you? And you will find those people. And if you are looking to become a mentor, there are places. There are public schools are always looking for people to read with kids. There are other mentors at the schools. There are food programs where there are always people that pack food at Second Harvest are hilarious. They are a very interesting group of people, hardworking, but that's a good group of people. You know how you decide who your family is. That's yours to decide. And I have a biological family, but I also have people outside my family that I look to. But good. Okay. Have a good evening.
Thank you.